Hi guys, good morning. Welcome to the channel. My name is Niladri Mukherjee and I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. I practice here in Guelph, Ontario. So the government of Canada, the federal government of Canada has finally released its 2022 to 2024 immigration plans. And this is the plan that will determine the future of a million, if not billions of people all around the world. I know there is a lot of talk going on. There is a lot of dissatisfaction that is already there across social media, across public domain about the immigration plan. You could always go to their press release and read the immigration plan yourself. You can read through the marketing materials, read through the number. But this is what it is to me, as an immigration consultant, as somebody that predominantly works with high skilled immigration category. This is what it boils down to me, and I am trying to give you a very clear points to what it could potentially mean to you across the category. So what this plan all about? The government has basically increased its immigration quota to 431,000 in 2022, around 447,000 in 2023, and approximately 450 something thousand in 2024. So on the face of it, the government is increasing the immigration quota, right? So it may sound a very glorious kind of a thing, but let's just dissect and see what it means to you. Predominantly, express entry system has been and it still is, and I'm sure in future also will be, once this mess is over, will be Canada's established and a fundamentally sound system to bring in skilled resources. So skilled resources, a country cannot grow without the help of skilled resources, and with the amount of Canadians that are going to retire by 2030, skilled resources are and should always be the priority of the government. But it is what it boils down to, you guys. If you are an express entry aspirant with a very high CRS of maybe 460, 470 or 480, forget about coming to Canada in the year 2022. Now hear me out. If you are an express entry candidate sitting with a very high CRS of till about 480, you will not be able to come to Canada through a direct express entry invitation system in 2022. You might get an invitation towards the end of 2022, because towards the first part of 2022, there will probably not be any direct express entry draws happening. So if you're sitting in that 480 plus bracket, you might get an invitation to apply towards the second part of 2022, which means that at the earliest of maybe late 2023, you are expected to come to Canada. And I'm talking about the direct express entry invitation system. PNPs, the number of provincial the potential nominations have gone up. So now the government is planning to apply or planning to give around 83,000 invitations to apply through PNPs. On paper, again, this seems like a up, from all the previous year. What you really have to understand is that the immigration is a shared responsibility between the federal and the provincial government. And the provincial governments are the ones that really, steerhead, these provincial nominee programs. So the federal government can, on paper, increase the quota for the PNPs. But if the provinces do not need that many skilled resources, they will never ever send an invitation to apply. Okay, what it means to you, for example, if you are in the in the pool and if you have applied to the SINP, the Saskatchewan Provincial Nominee Program, and if the government tells request Saskatchewan to invite more and more candidates, if the government of Saskatchewan thinks, if the province of Saskatchewan thinks that it may not require that many skilled resources, they will never ever increase their anticipated invitations to apply. So regardless of the federal government increasing the quota for PNPs, if the provinces do not require that many resources, they will never enhance the quota by themselves. And once they do not do that, there is no way that the federal government is going to impose some additional quota on them. So PNPs, the number has increased on paper. In reality, we will see how it goes. I am personally not super optimistic. Another thing that you have to remember is that the provinces, as I've been saying for a long time, the provinces take a lot of additional time to finalize an application. In the pre-COVID days, the average time that Saskatchewan used to take to process an application after you get an invitation to apply from them and after you submit your PR was around to 1.5 years. And God, imagine how long they take during the COVID days, right? So if you're waiting for PNP, well, you can still wait, but you may not be making it to Canada even by the end of 2023, right? So what is left, as I've always saying, is the students. That's the priority of the federal government, that's the priority of the provincial government, that's where the business comes from. International students are the cash cows, and yeah, so that is again is a priority. The temporary residents are the priority of the government. Now the temporary residents could be students, the temporary residents could be work permit holders. But hey, mind you, in order for you to get a work permit from outside Canada, for 90% of the countries, you need to get a job offer first. This is still people fails to understand. You cannot really apply for a work permit from India to Canada without a job offer. You need to get a job offer first, and getting a job offer from Canadian, from one of the Canadian employers while you're in outside Canada is like finding a gold mine. You could still find a gold mine in your lifetime, but hey, is it really a feasible possibility? So again, people do get job offer. I'm not discouraging that, but it's extremely difficult. What it then boils down to is the students' pathway, right? It's the international students that have been proven to be the driving force of the economy, and the government has again prioritized the students. So again, all it boils down to the fact that if you're an aspirant of immigration to Canada and you want to make it to Canada sometime in 2022 or even early part of 2023 or maybe in 2023, I would imagine study pathway is probably the only workable and logical options. You could still wait for your express entry draw if you're in that CRS range of maybe 480, 490. But mind you that with each passing year, you will lose 5 points if you're 30 plus. Plus, the number of people going into the pool is going up. So the potential CRS, whenever the draw comes out, will be very, very high. Not sure how high that will be, obviously. But it is going to be definitely over 480. And scoring 480 in CRS is like a humongous task in itself. So all it boils down to is the study visa. Now, obviously, by listening to this news from the government of Canada, I'm sure a lot of people have already started thinking about study visa from all across the world, across the age group. Mind you, with the number of applications going up, the government of Canada is also prioritizing on its increasing usage of digitization and all the advanced data analytics software and everything to screen and sort the applications at the first go. What it means to use that? What it means is this: if your application is not perfect, if you fail to upload even a single document, if you fail to include even a single point, the sorting software will just move your application to tier 2 or tier 3 maybe, which means you will probably never get a decision in a month's time, if not years. So this is more than ever, the time is for you guys if you are serious about it, and if you want to make it sooner. Study visa is probably the only option, and this is the time for you to ensure, if you're applying for a potential student in Canada, to use things properly, to do things judiciously, right? Make sure your application from A to Z, your application is perfect. And when I mean perfect, I mean really perfect. There is no scope of error. If there is a single error in your application, you may be put into the backlog. You do not want to do that. Now, this is what it is boils down to. I am super dissatisfied with this personally, because it doesn't really matter what I think personally, but I am not very happy with this, right? Skilled immigrants are the driving forces of this country. Now, I do understand that the government of Canada has an international obligation towards the settlement of Afghan refugees. That's on the humanitarian ground, but I also cannot forget about the fact that tons and millions of skilled immigrants have spent their hard-earned money in their IELTS, in their ECA, and have been waiting patiently for all these months and years for their for the potential PR to Canada in order for them to get a better living. So is it not inhumanitarian for the government to not to look at them and to prioritize the refugee settlement? Well, I don't know, but to me, I am not very happy, and I'm being honest about it. I am not happy with the fact that the government has sort of sidetracked the express entry system for the whole of 2022. Well, the COVID is now a 2-year thing now, right? I mean, you cannot really say towards the beginning of 2022 that we are still trying to digitize our system, we are still trying to do this, still trying to do that. Right? It should have been done by now. I do understand it's not easy, but hey, which is why you're running the government and I'm running an immigration company, right? If things would have been easy, then any XYZ would run the government. It will not be easy, but having said that, when millions and billions of people are relying on you, I would personally expect the government to be a little bit more I would say, I don't know the exact term, maybe a little bit more prudent, a little bit more futuristic in understanding what is going to happen in the system when there is like million of people, try to, use their online portal. I was consulting a client yesterday, and I was trying to look into the documents. I thought of opening my CAC, portal, my representative portal, to go to, like a specific document. I could not, because the portal was down, and unfortunately the portal was down for the whole day. Now, this is the kind of glitch that I would expect the government to have recovered, to have overcome by now, right? So, yeah, anyways, this is not a happy news for me, because skilled immigrants, as I've been always saying, are the driving forces, sort of, putting them onto the second bench and, prioritizing some other category. I don't really, appreciate that at a personal level, and I'm sure a lot of people have really kept their life on sidetrack, have put in a lot of money and effort and time onto it, and now they have been forced to sort of go into the study pathway, which is obviously a way more expensive and is not definitely affordable, to a large cross section of the society. But hey, this is what it is, right? We have to live with the reality. So all it boils down to the fact that if you plan to make it to Canada anytime sooner, maybe in 2022 or in 2023, study is the way to go, regardless of your age gap, or the gap in education, regardless of your background. If you're able to prove yourself to be a bona fide student, you could still get a chance to come to Canada as a student along with your family. So the time is now. If you need my professional assistance, if you need to consult me professionally, drop us a line, go through our website. Each and every information is there on our website. Drop us a line then at contact@nuvonation.ca. Shall be more than happy to connect with you. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.